Hey guys, Jen's here. So part one of this video covered how I got into real estate investing and why I started a sober living group home now versus later. And now for part two. Okay, so this is a long drawn out process by which we're learning this strategy isn't working, this strategy isn't working, this strategy isn't working. So around that time, we started thinking it's just this big house with lots of rooms, lots of space. Once we started looking at, you know what, maybe this house is supposed to serve that purpose. Like we struggled. So even in the getting the house fixed up phase, and doing the initial rehab, one of the scariest things was that we could not find a contractor that we felt good about. Like that was a huge struggle. But I tell you, once we decided that this was gonna serve the purpose and be a group home, the things that started to align so quickly, I mean, it's goosebumps. Like, so we decided, okay, we're freaking doing this. Like God, the universe is telling us, you're not gonna wait until later to start doing group homes. Like, this is it, this is now. This is the only choice I'm giving you with this house. And again, this was like a third tier city. You know, we'd been coached. The word was, oh, you want to do it in a metro where there's all these resources. So it's something that I think we weren't really even thinking about in this town. But so when we decided to do this, we swapped from the deal from a novation to sub two. We ended up closing on the house subject to the existing loan. Um, in order to do this strategy, we also had to move the puzzle pieces of our investing partners, our private money lenders and equity partner around because, the original partners that signed on were there for us to do a quick flip. So we had to see, hey, who wants to be in this for the long haul, become an equity partner, and be a part of this group home, and who wants out. Well, we did have one investor that wanted out. So we had to go find more PML to replace that investor. All good now, but I tell you what, that process was, this was very tricky for our transaction coordinators and for the title companies. That was a very harrowing experience, but we got through it. But the finding the money and the people to put in place, like again, once we decided we were going the group home route and more specifically the sober living route, all the pieces started coming together. So we got the new investors in place. The contractor was amazing. I had gotten so many bids, I'd talked to so many people, and for some reason or another, it just wasn't good. The next networking event that I did, I'd not go out saying, oh, hey, I'm doing a group living home or a sober living home. Does anybody have does anybody want to help with that? It just happened that I met somebody who's like was working like the next town over, had a contractor that they felt really good about, sent me the referral, and met this guy, and it was just like, oh, like you were sent to me from above, and he's been amazing because he's one of these contractors that isn't like, he gets the investor mentality, especially like for long-term rentals or a home that's going to be used for a purpose like that, where it's going to be lived in. And then the next crazy thing that happened was, by the way, my partner happened to have just finished a mentorship in which our group home mentors, if you know them, Dawn and Patrick, they were in that group with her. So she reached out to them. We finally like went and watched a bunch of their content. Okay, like maybe we can do this. Um, so that was just a nice little thing that came out of that. They were like, oh, here are these connections that we already have. And then one other crazy thing that happened on Nextdoor, I saw a woman post about a children's home organization, and I just thought, you know what? I'm going to call this lady up just to see, maybe there's resources in town that we can connect on. Maybe there's some way that we can help her out. Maybe she can help us out. Well, I didn't realize this woman was just posting on behalf of the organization. She had no real affiliation with them. She was just sharing the word. And so when I called this hotline, this woman named Anna answered. And while she was working for this children's organization, her passion was to help people in active recovery and struggling with their sobriety. The information that was coming out of her mouth and the passion, and she was so excited, and she was just the wind beneath my wings that I needed. And from that day on, she has been a tremendous resource in making connections and just being able to speak a language that we don't speak yet. And again, it was just the way it came about. It was just a crazy happenstance, divine intervention, like connection that was made. And then let's see what else. It's also interesting that around the same time we were kind of coming to the conclusion, and people in the mentorship groups were just now starting to speak out loud about the fact that, when we're buying a property subject to, or even getting a hard money loan or bank loan, that with the market and the interest rates, it's just nobody can find a property that will cash flow as a long-term rental. I'm not blanket statements, take them with a grain of salt, but you know what I mean. It's so difficult to find a property that you can cash flow on as a long-term rental. And, Airbnbs are kind of getting shut down, and even pad splits are getting a little like heat right now. So to have this opportunity, to have our minds just really opened up to this opportunity now at this time was also really kind of critical. So let's see. I think that's, just, oh, and just, I can't even explain all of the things that, like, if you know when you feel in alignment. If you haven't felt it, maybe you don't know, but once you felt it, you know what being in alignment feels like. And I just can't say enough how once we decided to do this, how things were just being gifted to us, whether it was donations or a phone call from someone, or an employment agency saying, hey, I want to get involved, or people from the AA community that are great candidates for house managers, raising their hand. Like, so let me get to the point. I didn't want to make this video too long. So I talked about the small town versus big town. So the recommendation or best practices that you might get from a mentor or somebody else doing this might be, you need to go to Houston or Atlanta or Dallas or a big city that has resources and plenty of people in need. Dude, there are people in need everywhere. And I don't want to tell anybody to like go out and start buying homes in small towns to start group homes, because again, this is my first one. Um, However, in this particular town, what Anna had explained to me is that census data, and this just makes logical sense to me. I haven't done any fact checking on this, but a lot of times there are these like third tier cities where like census data and money coming into the city is based on the population in that city. And it doesn't account for all the tinier towns around that are using all of those resources. What we have found is that the town had kind of been shunned because nobody thought that they could make money there, or maybe disregarded that there was a need there. And there was a huge need and a huge lack of resources. So you go into a town like that and people are just like, take me with you. Um, just That's just based on my tiny bit, take it with a grain of salt, tiny bit of experience. So to kind of sum it all up and fast forward to how we got to where we are right now, we got the construction done. We're literally meeting with the contractor this Friday to do the final walkthrough. At the same time, drinking from a fire hose on all the paperwork that this is an independent living self-pay home. not a licensed facility. But still, like all of the intake paperwork and all of that, just like um, my partner and I went to a conference like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's been going so fast. So being there, it was an owners club meeting. So there are a lot of people in real estate, a lot of people that just they're just learning about being business owners or they are business owners. So, but being there with a lot of like-minded people that like got our passion and we could actually like jive with. Um, I was fired up. And even though I was getting sick as a dog, then last night in that hotel bed, I said, fuck it. And I put up a Facebook page for the group home. I said, and when you do that, when you put up a Facebook page, you can't get a unique URL until you have 25 likes. And there's some other criteria, but it's not a big deal. The hardest thing really is the 25 likes. So I wrote to the community that we were there at the conference with. And then I asked our girl Anna, I said, hey, can you guys get us 25 likes just so we can get a URL that I can actually market? It's not a whole bunch of string of a bunch of numbers. And I went to bed and I woke up in the morning and we had close to 25 likes. We had like 58, almost 60 followers, but we had like 20 likes. So I was like, I need to get a little few more likes here. But literally from that point, like we got the likes, I put I think it was another week before, by the way, we came home with a little souvenir, got COVID. And so it was a slow week following that, but still putting the work in. But I think maybe that was 2 weeks ago from when I like put the page up. And now I think we're something to like 300 followers, lots of likes, people sharing the page everywhere. But like I set up that phone number and I'm getting like 5 calls a day. We have 12 people on the wait list. It's a 14-bed house, including the house manager. And guys, we're sprinting. I'm scared. I'm excited. When I get scared, I just have to think, what's driving me now is the calls that I get. Um, this is something I'm gonna have to get a little tougher working in this realm, but um, the calls that I get from people that are like, want to move in next week. And that just keeps me going. The thing that keeps me going when I'm getting frustrated because things aren't going forward or I'm getting scared of something is that now I know without a doubt there's a base of people out there that are depending on me, that need me to keep going. Uh, so not supposed to end. I hope that there was helpful information in this and that my rambling wasn't too unbearable. But yeah, if you're thinking about getting into group homes, hit me up. Let me know what your questions are in the comments. And if I missed anything that I know the answer to, I'll put it in there or I will be happy to go look it up for you. I definitely have a huge network. And if you're scared, you think you're alone in it, there are plenty of people that will hold your hand and teach you how to do this, how to do it right. Guys, please, though, do be ethical. Okay. Everyone, have a good one. Bye.